Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, my name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in as we get ready for R. Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. And B. Arthur is here co-hosting with us tonight from the Paranormal Portal podcast. Good old Golden B is with us as well. It's going to be absolutely magnificent as we get ready to say hello to each and every one of you, including Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Robert Lamoth with a silver, Anil taking home a bronze medal tonight. Hey, Pop, how you doing? Nice to see you. And Mama Catherine, I love you, my dear. I hope you have a great night enjoying this show, and I know you're going to enjoy it. I just know you will. So sit back, relax, and here we come. All right, Necessary Dialogue, how you doing? T-Bone, my man, thank you for coming on in. Luscious Jules, nice to see you as we continue on with our roll call. Attorney at Large, Michael Morris, nice to have you here. Michael Morris will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Road Flare, thank you for joining us tonight as we continue on with our roll call. Eternity Eternal, good to see you. What brings you in tonight, man? I wonder what brings you here. Maybe a good show. How about that? Scrolling on down, we say hello to Forrest Louie. Been a while. Good to have you here, my friend. And who is next on our list here? Let's see here. Scrolling on down. Operation Shutdown. Super crazy. How you guys doing? Thomas Rock, nice to see you. And there's Deanna Ann. Nice to have you here. And Night Drive. How you doing? Night Drive will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Yes. Flat 6 and be done with it. Nice to have you both here. And Pam Harris, nice to see you. Flubber Lane, good to have you here. Cosmic Joe, thank you for coming on in. As we continue on with our roll call here, there's Frankie B. He's heading off to bed, but he's listening. He promises. Melissa Nicole, thank you for coming on in. Undead Jed, nice to see you. And Man from the West, welcome to SOR Chat. Good to have you here. Stargazer and Algaray over on Twitch. He's so excited that he cooked up 28 pork chops in honor of R. Keith Andrews' sideburns. 28 pork chops and ate them all in under 20 minutes. Good for you, Algaray. Way to get chubbied up for tonight. Good job. It's his cheat day. What can you say? Number 39 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. There he is. All right, Cosmic Joe is here. And Kitty Caddywhack, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. I'm Hardcore over on X is here. I'm Hardcore. We'll be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. The Ferret, good to have you here. Polly Rotterman, Candy, thank you both for joining us. Hi there, Emperor Penguin and J True Seeker. Good to see you guys. Stargazer, thank you for adding to the super chat tonight. Greatly appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. And by the way, Michael Morris says he has his Sharpie in hand. He's ready for the autographs as we speak. Paul Nicholas, nice to see you. Fap Nuts, just dangling there in the chat room. Nice to have you here, my man. All right, scrolling on down. What about the Yankees? What about the Yankees? Jessica McCreary, nice to see you. Hold on. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection coming up momentarily as we have a guest host as well from the Paranormal Portal podcast. They call him Brent Thomas. We call him B. Arthur. He is here hanging on out with us. We are in roll call on our YouTube side. We say hello to Jose Sanchez. Nice to see you. Benno, thanks for coming on in. And let's see here. Mystery Forms, welcome to SOR Chat from Richmond, British Columbia. Nice. Good BC kid right there, just like me. And in the studio, nice to have you here. Fast Hemi, nice to see you. Super Crazy, again. Scrolling. Kathy Evans. And Selena Ingalls, welcome to SOR Chat. Warden Dragon, nice to see you. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show coming up tonight. If you've never heard our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection, you're about to turn the woo volume up to at least 10, 20, maybe 30 tonight. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will be here with another creepy story. We will be joined by Extra Small, Lee Strauss, hanging on out with us for the Q&A. All right. It is that time of the month. And near the beginning of each month, we are lucky to be joined by a man who shows no boundaries when it comes to ETs, alien contact, UFOs, and so much more. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues. Now, Keith is not a researcher. He's an experiencer who now helps counsel those who've claimed that they have had their own real alien encounters. Yes, everything Keith knows is the knowledge that he has gained from his own experiences over the years. And to be absolutely blunt, you're either going to think that this is absolute hogwash, or you're going to think, man, oh man, this guy is on to something. I fall into the latter category. That's because I like Keith, number one. Number two, I always think he's so accurate at times. And number three, he's a lot of fun. We are also joined by a special guest host tonight from the Paranormal Portal podcast, which I can always say perfectly off the air, but when I get on the air, it seems to always stutter me. I don't know why, but it does. We call him B. Arthur around these parts because his voice is golden. Brent Thomas is here as well. All right, our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. How you doing, my friend?
I'm still breathing, so it's a day up.
You have had a little bit of health trouble recently, and we want to say that, the SOR family was praying for you because they literally pulled a 3-foot long from your hip down to your mid leg, 3-foot long blood clot out of you.
Yes.
Good God.
How you feeling over that?
Well, let's just put the short answer would be in pain. The clot went out without a problem. It was the after effects that caused the catch.
Well, at least you're on this side of the earth.
And that I agree with.
That's amazing. Were you getting tingling because of the blood clot? Was it a circulation thing?
Well, yeah, it shut the entire circulation on the leg down.
Oh, wow.
Like it was a solid clot.
Man.
Kind of like yanking the snake out of your veins.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. Oh.
I had a friend of mine that happened to his wife. They pulled about a 3-foot blood clot out of her hip to leg as well, almost identical. And man, there was a couple close calls there. I mean, you don't think about it, but that is something you really got to be careful about is these blood clots, man.
No, that's scary stuff. Wow, I'm glad you're okay though, right? Everything is good?
According to the doctors, I got no permanent damage to any organ, which they can't figure out.
That's a good mystery to have.
I thought so. I was asked one day years ago what I enjoy. I said I do enjoy confusing doctors.
Fair enough.
Now, this is an audience participation show, so if you are on X or on YouTube watching us live, please put your questions about alien contact all together for our Keith Andrews. We'll get to your questions here as we go. Now, Brent, you're kind of a paranormal guy, but you like to dabble every now and again, like a fine dessert into the, UFO and alien category. I don't think you're pretty ready for Keith here because he's pretty far out there, man.
I've watched Keith on the show and I've enjoyed him. I mean, I marvel at some of the answers. I think it's very fascinating and interesting. I've seen UFOs myself. I don't know that I've had any actual contact or meetings of aliens, but then again, I wonder if haven't we all? Maybe they're everywhere. I don't know. What do you think, Keith?
Oh, they have been here since before mankind got here.
Okay. Now, can I ask you a question, Keith? Because you're kind of the resident authority.
You can give it a shot.
Well, what I've always wondered is, throughout the course of people encountering UFOs, there would be periods of certain kinds of UFOs. Like in the 50s, people saw flying saucers. That was the thing. That was the flavor of the day. Then there was a lot of cigar-shaped craft that were sighted over the next period of time. And then triangles and pyramids. And we kind of get this. Now, do these varying craft represent different intelligences or like different species of alien extraterrestrials, or is it just like, I might drive a pickup truck or, a motorcycle? What does it mean?
It's a different species. Like, for instance, if you take a look at the triangles, you're looking at the Antioch, what the Egyptians called gods. If you're looking at the saucers, you got two types, which were either the Greys, also known as the Reticulans, or the Martokians. When you've got the cigar-shaped ones, now you're looking at the Pleiadians or some of the reptilians.
Now, is the Pleiadians the same as the Nordics?
No.
Okay.
The Nordics are who the Greeks called gods, who the Greeks, the Romans, and the Nords called gods. They are the great-nephew. And you'll see them a lot of the time with the reticulans, because, well, reticulans are frail.
The Greys? Is that the Greys?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, let's face it, they're not exactly the biggest, most muscle-bound individuals.
No, I wouldn't call them to help move furniture. That's for sure.
Keith,
if you're dealing with a Barbie house, it wouldn't be a problem.
Quick favor here. Keith, I need you to do me a quick favor. Can you turn your volume down a little bit? We're getting some feedback back from you here. Now, in regards to the grays that are coming on out, most people seem to have encounters with these little 4 foot to 5 foot tall dudes with big black eyes and giant heads. I mean, kind of looks like my dad after his golf game, right? But I mean, we kind of look at it with open eyes, and that so many people have had these experiences with the grays. Are the grays all interrelated, Keith? Like whether they're the tall ones, the short ones, the big-eyed ones, the beady-eyed ones, are they all part of a same kind of familial
There are about 15 races of what you know as grays.
Oh,
Okay, and they are all interrelated, much like the various different races of humans.
now, do you agree? Or, well, I mean, I've heard speculation that the Greys were actually an engineered race created by someone else. Is that your understanding as well, Keith?
Well, I've heard the saying,
Okay.
but the Greys, in my experience, were co-created by their parents.
They're biologically born, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I got you. I got to learn to speak Keith a little more as we go.
You know
I've
what?
got a bad habit answering things, shall we say, a little direct, or taking them a little direct.
It's taken me 10 years, Brent, and it's half the time I still don't understand what he's talking about. But you know what? I can tell you this. In times when I have had my own experiences, and I could say this to vouch for Keith. When I've had my own amazing experiences, the first person I call is our Keith. And literally, he will tell me point per point on everything that's happened. And I will just be like, how do you know this?
Right.
How do you know what's going on? Like, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, when my alien friend Carl came back, do you remember the movie Signs, where, the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. You remember when the young Mel Gibson's young son in the movie crawls on top of the car and he holds the baby monitor up and you can hear the aliens talking that kind of noise?
Yep.
Right. So one night I have this going on in my yard.
Oh.
Yeah. And a couple of things had happened prior to that tipped me off that there was some strange happenings. I call up Keith, and the first thing I said to Keith was, Carl's back. Carl, my alien.
Oh.
And the first thing Keith says, before I have told him anything, he's never been to my house. He's never seen my yard, not in photos, not in FaceTime, nothing. The first thing he says is, by the way, because he starts every sentence with by the way. Okay. Have you heard any strange noises happening around you right now?
Ooh.
And in the meantime, I'm hearing this going on in my yard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's these clicking sounds. And he goes, does it sound more like this? And he did this thing with his throat that sounded, and I've got him on speakerphone here because if you know me, I hate having my phone up to my ear.
I do too. Yeah.
I'm a speakerphone guy.
Yeah.
And so I have him on speakerphone, and he does this noise with his throat like 3 times, and be damned if whatever was in my backyard didn't respond to him.
Keith.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That's amazing. Yeah, that's incredible. Now, Dave, is Carl a gray, or what does he look like? Have you seen
Carl
it?
is a reticulum.
He is. Okay.
Carl is a very large-headed gray with a very, very big bone. You can see the bone structure around the eyes, the chin.
Oh.
No beard. He doesn't have a beard. He probably should.
You could loan him one, probably.
I could lend him one. I definitely could lend him one.
You might have to glue it on. They don't grow them.
Yeah, they probably don't have the follicles. So Keith, I've always wondered. I had my very first experience seeing a UFO was very powerful. I think I mentioned it on your show, Dave, when I was on here. But The UFO that I saw, just in a nutshell, to cut right to the chase, it was a saucer, but it wasn't the traditional saucer. It was kind of the upper and lower pie plates coming together like this, but there was a gap between them, and in this gap was panels of light, and these lights were like chasing lights in a marquee pattern. And I always want, and then I realized, oh my God, I'm looking at them, they're probably up there looking at me, and I got weirded out and went inside. But I always wondered, who was looking at me? Do you know, or do you have any insight into that?
Now the short answer is I know. I can't tell you the answer right off the hand, but I've got it in my book, in my notes.
Okay.
I've got the race identified, but because I'm on a limited computer system right now, contact me afterwards. I'll look it up for you.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that, because I always wondered, was that mantis things? Was that grays? Was that any variety in between? What was looking at me? So that was my big curiosity. Thank you.
Yeah, that one. Contact me after the show, and I will track it down.
Okay, cool.
Keith, we're going to start things off, and just for our audience to know, because literally Keith was let out of the hospital this morning, and somehow he's finding the strength to do this show tonight. I don't know how he does it, but it really shows his love and admiration for not only this radio show, but myself and our great audience that we have. So Keith, very commendable that you do that, because I was all prepared to do a show without you tonight, but I know you love this time to do this show with us. But I want to start things off. We got a really good question from Night Drive to kick things off. Do they pick humans? I don't know, whatever that means. Like, how do they pick us?
That depends on which race is going after them, is going after the person, and what study they're doing. Now, I've heard people talk about, oh, this blood type is important. It makes you more susceptible. That only applies, like, for instance, AB negative, is it more important than A positive? Only if the research they're doing is based on AB negative blood.
Oh, okay. That's a good insight. I like that one, because I always wonder about the Rh negative factor as well. It seems to come up an awful lot, but you're right. There's no reason to believe that they aren't doing several different studies.
Oh, there's certainly a reason to believe it. Yeah. Listen to the major media moguls. They'll tell you there's a reason to believe it. Now you got a reason.
Sure.
But how do they choose us? Like, I know there's common threads in family lineage, but what about just somebody who's, say, motocross, riding a motorbike on some trails in the middle of a forest, and all of a sudden they see this beam of light. The next thing you know, they're gone for 5 hours. They've never
More
had.
More often than not, it's a strike of opportunity. Think of humans going out in the bush. They're trying to study study rabbits. You find a rabbit, and that's the one you manage to catch. But you're not necessarily going to go into a warren to find one. Quite often, if you're looking at bloodline, because they're tracking DNA, and they've got markers that humans don't even know exist, they will track a bloodline to see how it's migrating, how it's spreading, and just what kind of a web is being created.
So, I mean, it's like hitchhikers where they're picking up a random stranger?
More to the point, more accurately, I would have to call it abductees. Every once in a while, there's been a couple of very specific cases, and I don't talk people's names, but there's been a couple of cases where it was an accidental encounter, so they picked the person up to put them back together. Kind of like, if you will, an EMT guy accidentally hitting a hitchhiker and then stopping the repairing.
My next question for you, Keith, before we get to more audience questions. What is your thoughts on people, especially New Age spiritualists, using DMT like psilocybin or magic mushrooms or ayahuasca to try and create contact?
Well, that's kind of like using alcohol to create a balance situation. It's not a bright idea because you don't know what you're getting. With things like psilocybin and what have you, you may well be literally imagining, and you won't know.
I know many people who've never done it yet are still very much ET contactees and experiencers like yourself. Many people feel that they need it in order to try and get that spiritual awakening or that ethereal contact from other members of the galactic family. I mean, I don't believe that you do. I think that it's very easy to do it sober if you just give yourself an opportunity to meditate and concentrate. But there are those who saying they're having incredible results with trying it out.
Well, yeah, because what you got to remember when you start using psychedelics or alcohol for that matter, what you're doing is lowering your body's resistance to recognizing what you're going through. Problem is that it also creates hallucinations half the time, so you really don't know what you're seeing. So does it have? It's kind of like peyote. It helps with certain receptive aspects, but it creates such a quandary in the clarification of it that you don't necessarily know what you're dealing with.
What's your thoughts, Brett?
I think it's an interesting take. I've always I was going to ask Keith because what I think about it would weigh kind of heavily on this. But are we dealing with extraterrestrial, or are we dealing with extra dimensional, or is it both?
Well, let's clarify something.
Sure.
Okay. We're definitely dealing with extraterrestrial. The extra dimensional, there's a real debate, and in my own head, we're not dealing with extra dimensional, but some people may be looking at vibratory rate as dimensional.
Sure.
Because if you vibrate something fast enough, it will vanish from sight. Okay, and yes, you vibrate it at the right frequency, solid can pass through solid. But this is not a different dimension.
Okay. And the reason I was saying that is because I think if we're dealing with extra dimensional intelligences as these are the ones that are coming to visit us and stuff, then perhaps something with the higher functions of the mind that we don't usually touch can better and more easily reach them on a conscious level. But I don't know. It's all wild speculation for me. I'm not sure. I've certainly have talked to enough people that have used these psychedelics for contact and have had contact, of course, with ayahuasca and DMT. The clockwork gnomes or elves, that they call them, are a real common thing people run into, and other kinds of weird creatures that are very consistent from huge bodies of people doing it, that they all run into eventually these intelligences. But so it seems to suggest they are an intelligence on their own right, but perhaps
they are.
Yeah. Okay.
But the Alphid, for instance, they're not from another world even.
Okay.
They're actually from this one.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess, I don't know if I answered your question, Dave, but that's kind of how I was thinking about it.
No, I think it adds to the conversation for sure. And that's what we're here to do, is to learn all of this. Because I don't know, just the thought of doing, shrooms or ayahuasca or something, it just scares the hell out of me. And when people ask me, I'm going to go do an ayahuasca retreat, I'm like, why? You don't have to. Sure. If you want contact, all you got to do is build a proper group around you, and that's it. We'll go into that a little bit more when we return. Our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. It's that time of the month where we turn up the woo here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to continue with audience questions as well. Our special guest host tonight, Brent Thomas from the Paranormal Portal podcast. We call him B. Arthur around here. He's golden, people. All right, we're clear.
Okay. Yeah, Brent, I know the side the saucer you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Because of the limitations on the system I've got right now, I don't want to chase it around in the computer.
No, I got you.
Track it down.
It's just always baffled me that somebody was looking at me, and I don't think it was us. As far as like an advanced project kind of thing, because what I didn't mention, but it's certainly part of the story, is that I could only see it looking through IR goggles, IR binoculars. When I looked with my eyes, I only saw stars and the silhouettes of trees. It didn't exist. But when I raised the infrared, generation 1 infrared, so it's all green, it exists, and it's flashing lights. But as soon as I removed them, it was just a blank night sky.
Sometimes you got to remember, if you're looking at the night sky and it vanishes, look at where the stars are. Are they disappearing in a sequence?
No. I mean, it was perfectly visible, and I just kept my eyes in that same position and lowered the goggles. I could see all the stars and everything, but there was no craft there. But only when I was looking through the IR. It's like they were cloaked to our the light.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I said ultimately correct.
Oh, okay.
There are so many ways of cloaking a vehicle. And as I told somebody on a different show, once you understand it's a question of understanding the oscillator densification and tri-transformational equilarity. Once you understand that, the cloaking mechanism becomes easy to comprehend.
Mm.
But apparently that's not an easy thing to comprehend.
Yeah. I mean, I just had to acknowledge that that's what I was seeing. And it really cooked my bacon, because I'd never seen anything before. I'd always been looking. I always believed they were out there, but it wasn't until then. It's like, boom, there it was. Just, maybe 100 yards away, floating over a tree, just sitting there quietly. Like, oh my God. No.
It was
I can understand that all too.
What was that, Dave?
It was a golden moment.
Yeah. And B. Arthur is not moist.
Moist. It was like moistly golden moment. Oh my God, did that make me laugh? That screwed me right up.
That's funny.
You guys have no idea how much I needed to laugh tonight.
Oh
man.
Been a day.
It was like the last 3 hours.
Mm.
Yeah.
I completely understand.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part about it is I know it's going to continue tomorrow when I get back to work.
Oh.
First thing. And it's like, you son of a guns.
Yeah. That's the heavy part of that stuff.
Yeah. What do you do?
Well, you could be like a chap I know and blow the building up. I think this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I wouldn't encourage that. No.
No.
Keith, why aren't you sleeping though? I mean, you just went through all that today. That's crazy. I mean, in a good way. I'm just really impressed that you're here. That's a hell of a...
The reality is I only sleep 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Oh, okay.
So of course, when they let me out of the hospital, I did come home. I got lunch, and I came home, went to sleep for an hour and a half. I actually, while I was in the hospital, one of the nurses came in to see if everything was okay, because I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
Keith, where's your lovely wife?
She is behind me, actually.
Oh, beautiful. Hi, Kira.
Hi.
We love you, dear.
Well, thanks.
She's such a lovely soul. She really is. Thank you to Area 54, T-Bone, my man, Stargazer, and Kitty Cattywhack for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. And, of course, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out and make sure you go and look good. Just look good with us. You know, honestly, you can wear our stuff out in public and people will be like, oh, that's cool. Not like, what a hideous shirt. We don't get that around. None of that. All right, guys, here we go. All right, we're off to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind all of you that before we bring back our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection, our archives are always free. You can find them on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. We are also joined by the man, the myth, and the golden legend, B. Arthur, Brent Thomas from the Paranormal Portal Podcast. Here we go. And Keith, you ready for some audience questions?
Absolutely.
All right, let's kick it off here, my man. Let's start off with Super. In all seriousness, do you think your recent health issue has anything to do with your interactions with extraterrestrial beings?
Honestly, not from what we can figure out. It's technically possible, but I've got nothing concrete to work with. I can tell you it had something to do with them after I ended up in the hospital. I ended up talking to a number of them, which is half the reason why I don't have actual damage. Like permanent damage, I mean.
Well, that's good. Let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Derek. Keith Andrews, good to see you, buddy. Positive healing energy your way. Not a question, but a great comment.
Really appreciate it.
Paul Nicholas wants to know, 3i Atlas, the meteor that everybody's talking about, Keith, is it an alien ship or is it a meteor?
Well, I got a minor problem with that. I have no idea what the 3i Atlas is.
It's the NASA name, the science name. You know, they always got to give everything a weird name. They can't just be like if you can give hurricanes a good name, why can't we give these meteors a good name? Like, what about, like Bob Stewart, or Jim Valentine?
Well,
there's Comet Jim Valentine.
Kind of like calling him B. Arthur.
Comet B. Arthur. There we go.
You're not helping.
Oh, did we miss the part where I didn't say I helped?
I guess we did. I didn't see that in the brochure, but yeah. I think that 3i Atlas thing is interesting, though. That's the one that Avi Loeb, the professor at Harvard, is saying it could be a naturally object like a meteorite or a comet, but it could also seems to be exhibiting a lot of strange trajectories and emitting its own light and lots of anomalies that don't seem to fit into that category. And so there's speculation from him, Avi Loeb of Harvard, saying it might be engineered by an extraterrestrial civilization.
Yeah, there's a couple of possibilities. I know there is a comet inbound that nobody's going to see coming until it's too late. And no, it is not a civilization killer, so don't panic on that.
Oh, good. Okay.
But where it comes to anything engineered, you got to look at the gravimetric flux around it to see what the other celestial bodies are doing. because if they are reacting to its proximity, it's natural. If they're not reacting to its proximity, then the thing has a dampening field.
Oh, okay. Now you may know Avi Loeb, but he was the other guy. His other claim was that you remember that Oumuamua object that came through the solar system, where there was speculation that that was an alien technology and not just a flat meteor going through. Again, because it did some weird trajectory things around the sun that shouldn't have been naturally possible. And so this is a continuation of his body of work. And I like this guy. I love this Avi Loeb guy because he's like almost a UFO version of Jeff Meldrum. Like he's a professor at Harvard of all places, but he's asking the questions, and I think that's so cool. And he's having the discussions that none of those scientific types want to have, and so I respect that.
Yeah, and somebody like that is always somebody you wanna at least make note of.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one coming through the sun, through the photosphere of the sun, and in my experience, was, or more to the point, is a ship. But then you got to realize there's a whole pile of them inside the photosphere that our governments already know about.
Really?
They have known about them for 25, 30 years.
Oh, is that part of the push? Why they're like pushing for craft that are going to enter the atmosphere of the sun and do some surveys or whatever?
In all likelihood, yes. Although it's really ill thought out.
Okay. Friendly, not friendly. What's your take on that? Is there some of these things that are
that's the easiest one in the world to set. If they weren't friendly and there weren't guidelines around them, we'd all be extinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that being said, just because they're not aggressive doesn't mean they're nice.
Sure. Sure.
You take the Kleeklok. The Kleeklok are a group that you really, they just are, they've got their own outlook. The vegans, they do not have a pain center. So they've got no idea of what anesthetic should be. With a vegan, you can cut their arm off, and the only thing they're going to know is they can no longer pick something up on that side of their body.
Are you saying vegans, or what is the word you're saying?
No. Vegans is a dietary process.
Yeah. That's what I'm hearing. But what is it you're saying?
Vegan is a whole different ballgame.
Okay, I got you. All right, I just hadn't heard of that before. Okay, interesting.
All right, let's go to another audience question. Let's go to Kurt here. I believe the first hybrid program was with Anunnaki on Earth, and raptors or dinosaurs, and that's where the mantis or insectoids come from. Maybe, Keith, what's your thoughts?
Well, number one, sort of right. The Anunnaki did originate on Earth, but they knew because of their size, they could not function, they could not interact and inter-evolve with humans. So they managed to end up making contact with the off-worlders and said, look, we need off of here. So the consortium came in, built them a ship, and moved the majority of them off the planet. There were a few left behind, hence why we've got skeletons here. As for the concept of different dinosaurs, there are many ancient races, as in ones that evolved on Earth, that evolved from dinosaurs. Okay. And yeah, they're still on Earth. They just happen to be, most of them are in what you know as inner or hollow Earth.
So they're an intelligent race now as well, right?
There are many intelligent races on Earth.
Okay.
Humans just happen to be the dominant surface-dwelling, technologically advanced. They are not the most dangerous.
Sure.
Unless you count their tendency of going, what's this button do?
Yeah, that's always a bad one.
All right, Keith, let's get to another one here. Let's go over to Polly, who is asking, implants. Could they be like human organizers by alien family more than a human trafficker?
Technically, they could be. And sometimes that's all it is. Because, again, depending on the species that's putting it in, just like with humans, when they're tracking fish and tigers and what have you, humans will put a tracker into the animal and then collect data, watch migratory passings, and as new members are born, they'll pick them up and tag them as well. You know, the only difference is humans don't like being the ones being tagged. Or more to the point, humans can understand when humans complain about it. Tigers don't like being tagged either by humans. But they do have no real control over it.
Mhm.
All right, moving on here. Let's go next to Super Crazy, who is asking, can the Greys hold their own in a physical fight with other alien species like humans, Nordics, Pleiadians, Arcturians, or reptilians?
All of the ones you just specified, aside from, think it's the Queespar. The Greys are not a physically aggressive race. Okay, they're just not built for it. So, no. On the whole, most of the ones you just specified couldn't even begin on a physical confrontation. Couldn't even begin to deal with them. On a technological approach, mankind is hooped. And so are most of the races you just specified. Which we got to look at. Number one, the reticulans are not a cloned race. Although they do have exoskeletons in some cases. And in a case like that, you really don't want to tangle with them.
Sounds like that's more technological, though, yeah?
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, next question coming up for you, Keith. Let's go over to Creepy Pasta, who is asking, Dave, that's me. When you say if you want contact, you need to build the right group around you. Can you elaborate, please? Yeah, I can. I found that when I'm around people whom I trust and are of the same type of energy and contact that I am at, I tend to feed off of that, and it makes my abilities seem to expand, so to speak. So if I'm around Keith, or I'm around Merle, or I'm around Samantha Mowat, or even Tim James for that matter, and we are out, because our energy kind of combines on the subject and the environment we're in, it seems to really push the ball forward for helping make contact happen. Keith, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's very much the case. Because the closer you are in like-mindedness, as it were, the stronger the, if you will, psychic emanations give off, and you will draw people's attention. It's like cranking up a light bulb.
Absolutely.
So spotting a group of people that are thinking the same way is so much easier than spotting a single one.
I would agree with you on that, and I think that, one of the things that we forget to do is, it's all energy and consciousness. So that way, if we're not, or if we're struggling for contact ourselves, if you build people around you of the same like mind, then you're going to be able to move the ball forward a lot quicker.
Precisely.
Let's go to T-Bone. Where are you on the alien ship scale, Brent?
What does that mean?
I don't know, but T-Bone's asking.
Well,
how much food do you have in you? Pretty much, I think that's what it would mean.
Oh yeah, I'm all in. Like I said, I've seen that they're here. I've always believed that they're here. I have no question in my mind about it. I'm a knower, not a believer. I'm all in. I think I just would love to understand what they're up to, but I think there's probably many agendas at play if there's many of these things out there, many different types. So yeah, but I'm good. I'm definitely on the USS Enterprise level. Boom, I'm all in.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Let's go to Cosmic Joe. Do aliens have any form of currency, Keith?
They do, but it's not what people consider, what humans consider currency. On their own planets, and many of them certainly do, but almost unilaterally, they look at average man hours as the currency. In other words, if the average individual takes an hour to do this job, you'll get paid an hour's worth of time to buy that object. But get tracked digital. This is one of the reasons why when humans started going digital, it's like, well, it makes total sense. If you're going off planet, which humans have already done, you cannot take a whole pile of gold bullion with you.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next question. Let's go to Blue Cruise. A recent guest on the Cryptid Huntress show, for Jessica Jones, stated that humanity as a whole will be formally introduced to one of the human-looking alien ET races in mid-2026. Have you heard anything similar to this?
Yeah, for about the last 40 years.
Thank you. I'm not buying any dates. I mean, we hear 2026, 2027. It was supposed to be 2025, guys, and guess what? It hasn't happened. Then you hear 2035 is when the big mothership is supposed to arrive. Don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. There's a lot of people out there looking at these dates with a 15-minute of fame type of attitude.
Absolutely agree.
Me too.
Brent, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody that starts placing dates on things, they're just, like you said, it's just clickbait. It really is like, pay attention to me because I know exactly when something's going to happen. And generally speaking, the dates come and go and nothing's happened. And it's a tragic thing. So if anybody's spitting out dates of when things are going to happen because they know for sure, with a grain of salt.
I was thinking salt block, but we can work with the grain.
Yeah, some kind of salt. Yeah.
I would agree with you guys on that one. I would agree with you guys on that one.
2012.
Don't buy the dates, people.
Yep.
Don't buy the dates.
2012, the world was going to end, remember?
Yeah, I know. They let me know at the last minute. I mean, of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to the whole 2012 aspect, with the increase of the Mandela effect, I'm tending to think that maybe we didn't have our lives terminated because A, we're still here, and B, we're still on the air. But I think it's more towards maybe we had some sort of cosmic shift that maybe flipped a dimension, you know, because there's a lot of stuff. I'm not saying I'm the smartest or the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay. But I totally remember some of these things happening. And it's not just because people were talking about it. You know, C-3PO's leg. C-3PO was always gold, except for his one leg now is silver.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, here, the two that really screw me up are on the body. Because if you remember, when we were taught in school, when you pledge allegiance or you sing the national anthem, you put your hand on your heart. You always put it on your left side. And yet now the heart is in the middle of almost in the middle of your chest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like in Canada, we were always taught that during Remembrance Day, we wear poppies. And you put your hoppy on your left, put a lapel or on your shirt over your heart. But now the heart is moved more towards the middle of the rib cage.
Yeah.
Now that's where you and I have a little bit of a different memory. Because it was explained to me the reason the poppy was worn on the left side was because the majority of the heart was on the left.
Oh, well, could have been that too. Right? And then the kidneys. You're a sports fan, Brent. What has always been illegal in boxing? kidney
the tetanus
punches.
shot. Yeah. Yep.
Because why? They weren't protected, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now if you look at the human anatomy, kidneys are covered by the back of the rib cage.
Really? I didn't know that. Damn, there's a lot of it I don't know. But that's certainly one of them. Fun fact.
Dude, the Mandela effect is a complete rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, it is. I've been down it many times. I marvel at the one that really blew me away. And the reason it blew me away is because I remember old ladies making quilts depicting the scene in my church when I was a kid. Is used to be when the lion laid down with the lamb, but now it's the wolf laid down with the lamb. And
Yes.
and I remember old ladies making quilts with the lion laying with the lamb for sale at our church.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That just cooks my bacon, dude. Ugh.
I always thought Cuba was a small island on the eastern side of Florida.
I guess I never really knew. I've always been geographically challenged.
Now Cuba's this massive island.
Dang it. We got more real estate. Yeah, that stuff is weird. Something changed. You're right. I will say that I always thought, with getting back to that calendar, the Mayan calendar, Aztec calendar, whichever it was, but I always thought that the key was in the fact that it was round. It's like saying, well, your tire is going to be great for about 6 feet, and then you got to stop because that's where it ends. It's like, well, it kind of roll. So,
what's your thoughts, Keith, on the Mandela effect?
Well, I've seen a lot of things. I mean, I really can't tell you one way or the other whether or not it happened. I do remember certain things that don't add up. But then I don't have a memory that runs back like to yesterday, never mind. At least not consistently.
mm-hmm.
You know, I can tell you it was not a time shift.
Yeah.
Then what was it, darn it? What was it?
You know, the Mandela effect is an interesting concept. And if you take a look at a major wake up call, that would do it. You'd put enough. The thing that people don't realize is every human on the planet has the capacity to work with what we call 0-point energy, meaning humans as individuals can modify reality. Put a bunch of them together, and especially if they believe they can do it, you can move mountains.
And mountains we shall move. As we got 2 minutes to go, we'll get one more question in here for Keith. Let's go to T-Bone. Keith, in your opinion, how many humans know what you know?
I have no way of giving you an answer to that one. None that I've run into. I've run into a staggering number that have told me I'm spotting things that they're not, but I personally have never run into one. But I cannot be the only. Well, I could be. I don't feel I'm the top of the totem pole.
I think you're pretty high up there, buddy.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's me. I'm biased. What can I say? I am biased towards our Keith Andrews. But it is an interesting question, is how many people are truly connected? Let's expand that a little bit. I mean, Brent, you've talked to a number of experiencers over your time hosting the Paranormal Portal podcast. You know, I mean, your thoughts on just how many people just seem to be in the know of what is going on? Not the social media know, but actually in the know.
That's a tough question, because I don't even know what I experience, you know, and that's the way I look at it. When I think of somebody knowing something, it's like, well, they have to be able to, you know, clinically and categorically state pretty well what they think is going on. I think there's a surprising amount of insights coming from a lot of different angles. And I've talked to a bunch, but could I put a number on it? God, I don't know. I really wouldn't know how to answer that, Dave, to be honest.
The number is 12.
12.
It's always 12.
Yeah, shoot, I was going to
Well,
say
if you
that.
read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, then it's 42.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Gentlemen, we've got about, let me see here. Got about 15 seconds before we have to go to break. We are going to make sure that we get more audience questions in hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Our good friend R. Keith Andrews of the ET Connection is here tonight as he comes in once a month to bring the woo to us. The volume just doesn't go up to 10 here on the woo scale. We've got it up to about 15 right now. But the answer is 12. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we're clear. We got about 6 minutes here. Do you guys want to go in the green room, or do you guys just want to chat? I'm going to just step away.
I got to step away too.
I got no problem chatting with Brent. I do have to run and grab a coffee.
Yeah, I'll just put you guys in the green room then. Be right back, everybody. All right, I'm back. Let's bring the boys back in the studio. How you doing?
Not bad. How about you?
Not bad, our Keith. I want to do. Let's hide that for right now. And who else has joined us here?
Yeah, Brent. There is no question. I've got the species documented. That's got the ship that you're talking about.
Oh, cool. That's brilliant. I can't wait to hear that. And no rush, just whenever you think of it.
Yeah, I got a whole list of things I've done. Like, there is a staggering amount I've got to get done now. Of course, my life went sideways a number of years back when my brother passed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And now it's just gotten absolutely bizarre.
Yeah,
All right, we got 25 seconds. Big thank you to Area 54, T-Bone, Stargazer, and Kitty Cattywhack for the wonderful super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support of this show. Thank you to all of our new subscribers that have come on in and checked us out. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag. Why? Because I don't allow it. No, it's all good stuff. Here we go. Here comes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Decinoval. Decinoval is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. It's our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection happening each and every month on this show, where Keith comes in and literally breaks down what's happening along the ET realm. Now, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of woo, and we enjoy every time he's here. Welcome back, Keith.
Thank you very much, and thanks for thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody that's still with us.
And big thank you for B. Arthur, the host of Paranormal Portal Podcast, Brent Thomas. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for letting me on. I appreciate it.
All right, let's get right to the questions, Keith. Let's start off with Blue Cruz here. Are the remaining Anunnaki on Earth still involved in any secret underground mining operations?
Depends on your definition of secret. There are some that are still doing underground mining, but if you're asking in terms of are they connected to a government and working with them, to the best of my knowledge, the answer is no.
Well, that's quick enough. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Jules. Are there any creatures we still consider terrestrial, like octopus, platypus? Are they actually extraterrestrial?
The octopus, there's a couple like the octopus that absolutely didn't start here. From everything I've come across. Now, the platypus is an interesting hiccup, but that seems to be that thing seems to be a, shall we say, a genetic hiccup, like a bridge that links a number of different species.
What about, are there any alien species that we would recognize as animals or in our animal farm outside of those two? Are there any others?
The chupacabra did not originate on Earth. There's a lot. There's a number of underground or underwater races that people don't recognize, that scientists have come across, And they're going like, where did that come from? Well, some of them didn't come from this planet.
Right. Okay, let's move on. Go to Grandizer, who is asking, speedy recovery, Keith. Your thoughts on if AI technology has with alien technology? Is there anything that combines the two? And if so, when did you think humans figured the tech out? To use it in the past 10 years?
The AI technology that people are using is not AI. And if mankind actually develops true AI and cuts it loose, the worst movie you've ever seen on the outcome doesn't begin to even light a candle to it. See, you got to remember because the which ones are they now? The Xenon have a simple outlook. You're a bionome, you need to be obliterated. True AI will solve the problem of things like famine on Earth by wiping out most of the people there. They won't discriminate. They won't decide, oh, you voted for this person. They will just categorically wipe 90% of the population out.
So what you're saying is it's like the Terminator movie.
No, Terminator will wipe everybody out. An AI will look for a logical solution to a problem, keeping the cause of the problem there. In other words, think of it this way. If you've got a piece of property that can support 10,000 people, and you've got 100,000 people on it, a true AI will go on a public announcement and go, 90,000 of you have to get off this property now. By the end of the month, if you're not gone, we will pare it down. At that point, they will start at one spot and work their way across, and it will not matter who you are or how much money you've got.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to Super Crazy. Which alien species needs protective equipment like spacesuits or a breathing apparatus to safely walk around Earth?
Well, we'll start with the Pleiadians. Pleiadians cannot breathe Earth's atmosphere at all. And then, of course, we can go with the Udina, with both the Udina and the Udira. Neither one of them can breathe Earth's atmosphere unless you put them in the water.
All right. So kind of like when you throw Fred Thomas into a swimming pool.
I was going to say, does that mean they're aquatic? Are you suggesting that some of them are aquatic, or
yes?
Does it have to do with more of the gas compositions in our breathable atmosphere?
That depends on which one we're talking about. It has to do with the gas composition.
Okay.
With the Udina and the Udira, they're aquatic.
Oh. So to take that another step further then, Keith, do you think some of the ocean bases and water bases and stuff could be these aquatic extraterrestrials that might be here? Yeah.
Absolutely. The bottom of the Marianas Trench, below the silt level 6 miles down, there is a civilization down there. Do you remember seeing a movie called The Abyss?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Way too much information that was accurate.
Really? Okay.
What did you find accurate on that, Keith?
Well, let's start with the water elemental, the one that took the form of that wove its way through the contact or through the ship, and then we go to the bottom of the ship, and you remember the beings that had what looked like wings?
Yeah, like they're manta rays or whatever. Yeah,
something to that effect.
Yeah.
They are very real. It's funny with that particular group because that whole thing, and I don't remember who wrote The Abyss. Okay, but they when they started abducting humans to get to know what humans were up to, they did not know that first and foremost, humans couldn't breathe underwater. You can see how well that worked for taking them down. Then humans developed the diving bell, and these people capitalized on it. Only they didn't realize that the pressure would crush a human. Net result, that blue stuff that in the abyss, the lead guy coughed out,
Yep,
is real. But that was developed by them, not by humans.
interesting. So, would you say, just out of curiosity, because I think about the whole primordial soup and how life emerged allegedly, and there were fish, and then those fish crawled on land, and became eventually some version of us, which it became us. Do you think that that's an accurate timeline to our development, or do you think we were engineered, or what are your thoughts?
It's a combination, quite literally.
Okay.
Take the standard evolution. Mankind, you go way back to the time of chimpanzees. The chimpanzee was genetically accelerated in order to accommodate a growing need for people, for support people. Net result, you've got evolution and the accelerating factor, or creationism, if you will. The funny part about it is every one of the spiritual paths has part of the truth, including the scientific community. The neat part about it is that it was laid out very simply for people long ago. You want the truth, get along. So far, man hasn't done that well.
True.
Let's move on to another question here. Let's go over to Deidre on Vancouver Island. Keith, do you feel that you got a download recently?
The short answer is yes. While during this whole escapade that I went through, I got a massive, what you would call a download. I called it a conversation. But there is a lot that went down there. And yes, I will be covering a lot of that on my show. Because it's not technically what would fall under the category of UFO. Did I get a download and a whole lot of insight? Yeah, one of the biggest changes is I went up for the last 60 years. I've been basically telling people I'm putting in time. Now I know what I'm up to. And now I'm looking to live. But now I know why.
Super Crazy is asking, is there an extraterrestrial connection with the phenomena of cattle mutilations? If yes, what's the deal with that?
That's an evolutionary thing. It's, in all fairness, that is let's put it in English. That is primarily led by the Brawn.
Keith, I'm going to get you to stop banging on your desk.
My apologies. The cattle mutilations is primarily orchestrated by the Brawn. Now, the Brawn are what you would consider a minotaur. And they're just looking to track their past.
That's actually very interesting. I had a talk with George Norrie, and we discussed this on my interview with him, and he said that he thought that maybe they were doing research, and it was long-term research, the things they were testing, and so they'd go test the cattle to see how that was, interacting with their biology, things that they were doing to the cattle or to the area. I'm not sure which, but it was an interesting insight.
Which I find fascinating because I don't know many of the players in this field, but I do know the name George Norrie.
Yep.
And when I find out that I've never spoken to the man or about what he's up to, and we're on essentially the same page, I do find that a kind of fascinating coincidence. And I
Yeah,
don't believe much in coincidence.
fair enough. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Casey. Have the space-time travelers arrived yet?
No, and never will. You cannot travel, well, you can travel forward in time, but everybody keeps talking about them coming back in time, and nobody can travel back in time. You can look back in time, but you can't go there. And when I mean nobody, I've never met a race of any form in all of my lifetimes that could. But I have had to explain why you can't. Because once the past once an event happens, it's stuck. But you can take a look back at it and examine what happened, analyze what went down. But you cannot go back to it. I love the theme for science fiction movies. But reverse time travel doesn't happen.
Will it ever?
No, not from anything I've ever seen. And bear in mind, when I'm talking I've ever seen, I remember the last several renditions of reality. They asked the same set of questions and came up with pretty much the same answer. No.
Now, Keith, you said that you can look back. Do you mean technologically, like as if you're watching a TV, you can watch past events as they
Well,
happen?
whether it's technological or psychic, that's your call. But
Oh.
the answer is yes. That's exactly what I mean.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to Carrie. Are we a part of this galactic federation? If so, why do they seem to know everything about us and we know very little about them? Kind of like looking down on ants.
Because we're only part of it from the standpoint of they are waiting until we decide, are we going to blow ourselves back to the Stone Age, or are we going to get along and move forward? When that decision is made on a majority global movement, that's when we become part of the Confederation or the consortium. So the reality is, as long as we are still going, oh, that person looks different, let's shoot at them and ask if they're friendly. As long as we keep doing that, we are holding ourselves back as a species in joining the consortium.
So in the past, Keith, there seems to be at least some kind of evidence to suggest that there's been reboots of civilization. Like obviously the flood event is known through many cultures and ideas, and the mud floods, and there seems to be evidence that there was more advanced civilizations around throughout history, and then they were kind of rebooted. Is that them doing it, or what's your idea of that, or do you have a thought?
You mean is it another species looking back and rebooting this one?
Yeah.
No. Let's take a look at the Mobians. Okay, 50,000 years ago, this planet was occupied by 10 billion people. Okay, but their entire civilization was built on physical manifestation. About 50,000 years ago, they migrated and colonized another planet in our solar system called Mobius, that we call Mobius. Okay, shortly thereafter, about 40,000 years ago, we did something really dense, and we never did figure out who it was. We don't know who came up with the idea, but because the entire civilization was mentally linked, if we wanted to talk to somebody in Australia, for instance, we just go, I want to talk to that person, and tune in. But we'd stay linked. It was not a hive mind. But somebody came up with the idea of, why don't we all see what happens if we shut all our physical hearts off? Nobody thought it through. We were bored. Nobody considered it. We all did it. All of a sudden, half the population was gone. They just died. Now, bear in mind, we're literally holding the entirety of the physical civilization together by thought. When half the people die, you got 200 stories skyscrapers missing 50 stories in the middle. So in a period of less than a year, we went from 10 billion people to less than 10,000.
And somehow we ended up with the golden man, B, with us. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, let's go to another question here, as we got 3.5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. It's our Keith Andrews of the ET Connection. Go to Blue Cruise. Which alien ET race is similar in appearance to Star Trek's Vulcan race?
I'm thinking the closest one would be the elephant, but they're not an off-worlder. See, true Vulcans don't look anything like Star Trek's Vulcan. But if you look at the Vulcan and you think of the way Scotty used to put it, where he called Spock a pointy-eared elf, he wasn't actually kidding. But they are still very much alive. They're just not an off-worlder.
Let's move on. I think we can sneak one more in. Let us go next to Joe. Are there any foods we eat that the aliens like to eat?
Quite a lot of them. Like, in all fairness, when you take a look at most of the reptilians are carnivores. Okay, therefore, if it happens to be meat, they're in for it. If you take a look at the Spirinok Din, the Spirinok Din like eating fungus. Of course, the Spirinok Din look like a button mushroom. And then if we take a look at the Fuente Ren, pretty much anything organic they'll eat.
All right, let's. I think we can sneak one more in. Let's go to Stevie here. How are crop circles created by ETs?
Most of the time by subquantum impact from orbit. They are literally designed as, if you will, directional markers. But they punch it from orbit. It's not, you've seen the fake ones. But they're done very quickly. All they really have to use is use a subquantum pulse to drop the plants. This is why you get with humans that have actually developed the technology to check the ground density. That's why they can spot the difference, because it changes the molecular field.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very.
I still don't believe a lot of humans make those. I think there are some, but the intricacies of it all and the way that the wheat and the barley and the hops and everything are not broken in any way, shape, or form, I find that very, very intriguing. Now, I'm not an artist, but if they are aliens, they're doing a great job. They really are. Guys, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Hard to believe we only have our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Yeah, flying on by as it always does. And we have a special guest here with us from the Paranormal Portal podcast, Brent Thomas. I'm trying to be nice here. Brent Thomas is here.
Thank
We
you.
call him B. Arthur because his voice is golden on the radio. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Okay, no.
Very cool.
Look who else is here. There's little Lee Strauss.
I knew you would do that. I
The
just knew it.
little Lee Strauss, the extra small one right there.
Hey, Lee, how we doing?
Hey, buddy, how's it going, man?
I'm still breathing.
Yeah, it's going good on this end too.
And I
I'm
want
picking.
everybody to know that these 4 handsome dudes that you are seeing here right now,
Oh,
they will all be appearing at the 2026 Caribou Con in 108 Mile Ranch, September 18th to 20th. I will let you know soon when tickets are going on sale for your VIP packages. So that way you can book your holiday time and come on up here. And if you're like me, you have to save up, but it'll be worth it. I mean, who does not want an autograph with extra small Lee Strauss? Who does not want to hang out and say, hey, B. Arthur, you're golden? Who does not want to see our Keith Andrews pork chop sideburns in person? There's a lot of truth hanging out here. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And it's going to be great to have all of you here. September 18th through 21st, 2026.
That's
Yeah.
going to come fast, too.
It is.
Oh yeah,
good
yeah.
time will be held by all.
That's why I'm. We've already got it booked on the calendar,
Oh,
and we're
good for you.
already looking for the way to make it to get up there.
Yeah.
Because clearly I'm not driving, and it would be a bad idea to let my wife drive.
I think it's. I think this calls for a party bus. I don't know about you guys.
Keith, that is a funny joke, man. I'm not going to lie. That was funny. If anybody knows Keith's beautiful wife, Kira, she's blind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that. Now it makes a lot of sense.
Now it makes sense.
I
We
got
love
the-
you, Kira. We love you. She's just the sweetest, tenderest lady, man. Keith, you got a good one there.
I will not argue with you there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I told her if I made it through April of this year, so we're like 6 months past that, she was stuck with me for 20, 30 years, maybe longer.
Oh, that's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all.
You two are so cute together.
The Tara, funny part about it is she's 100% blind, and I'm completely directionally challenged.
Where's home for you, Keith? What area are you from?
Kelowna, BC.
Oh, okay.
Keith
Yeah.
is about 4 hours south of me. Keith, I'll be in your territory next week.
So will I.
I'm going to be going to a concert next week in Penticton.
We see.
And Kira will agree with this one. We're going to have to drop into the Broken Anchor.
I don't know if I'll have time to stop in and see you, buddy.
That'd
But
be
I will try.
Understandable.
My son, my daughter, and my wife and I were going to see Hailstorm.
I don't know
Rock
what that
band.
is. Oh, I've not heard of them.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Okay.
Lizzie Hale, the lead guitarist, she's one of the only women ever to get a guitar contract with Gibson.
Oh, nice.
She is a phenomenal singer and guitar player. She's like, in my opinion, she's one of the greatest female voices ever in rock.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, Ann Wilson is obviously number one in my opinion.
Heart.
But Lizzie Hale is freaking phenomenal, and I've wanted to see them in concert for like 9 years, and I'm finally getting that opportunity.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely take the opportunity.
Oh yeah. I just love going to concerts with my boy, man. That's one of the great things. Hold on, guys. We got 15 seconds. Lee, do you want to stick around, or you want to go back in the woods?
It's up to you, brother. I'm good hanging out.
All right. Thank you, Alaska's greatest athlete, Kitty Caddywhack, Stargazer, T-Bone, and Area 54 for the super chats. Here we go. We're into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as we continue on with our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection until the top of the hour. We've also got from the Paranormal Portal podcast, Brent Thomas here. We call him B. Arthur around these parts because his voice is golden. And also, this is turning into a party here on the radio. From our YouTube channel, the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel, Element 115 host, we have extra small Lee Strauss, who will be with us till the end of the show. And Brent, you can stick around if you want to, but I know Keith is getting worn out here because he's just recovering from some health issues right now. But thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us. It's been a joy. But you are right. I am starting. Well, my throat's starting to cook. You can hear that.
Yeah. Few more questions for you, Keith. Let's go to Joe here, who is asking, Keith, has the plot from the movie Forbidden Planet happened? Technology released the ID or the id, and they destroyed themselves in one night?
That would have been quite some time back. Not recently, but yes, we got to go back almost 100,000 years.
All right, let's move on to another one. Let's go to Blue Cruise. Do you have an estimate of how many off-world human-based civilizations exist in the multiverse?
Not even close. I can certainly tell you I've heard of a rough estimate of 2,500 species involved in the consortium itself. But each of those species have multiple races. Or most of those species have multiple races.
So, Keith, do you mind if I ask you a question quick?
Yeah, I came on air to say, no, I'm not talking to you.
Ooh, cheeky.
Ouch. Ouch.
Pull a clap from the guy's leg and he's all full of lip. I was wondering, is life in the galaxy or in the galaxies, is it plentiful or is it rare? What is the basic assessment?
Way more plentiful than people think. The thing is, it's not recognizable by most humans.
Oh, okay.
Most humans look at life, meaning bipedal or quadrupedal. When you look at, for instance, the Vorosic, the Umion, the Zerzics, they're all light-based.
Okay. Interesting.
So not all life is carbon-based.
Bingo. Not all of it's even organic-based.
Let's go over to Paramarv. Are there any foods that we eat because the aliens introduced it to us?
Unfortunately, not that I'm aware of. Of course, the reality is I don't know that much about food on this planet. Or for that matter, on any other planet. Although I do know one planet where the plants will eat you faster than the animals will.
Which planet?
That would be the reticulan homeworld.
Oh.
Let's go to Jules here. Is it true that the devil's lettuce was a gift from the aliens?
Well, I'm going to have to sign off on that one because I have no idea what the devil's lettuce is.
Marijuana.
Ah, the answer there is no, but thanks for playing.
Hmm.
It's not even the most potent of the botanical drugs that's available on Earth. It's just the most commonly seen, and if you will, demonized.
Blue Cruz is asking, do you have an... I've already asked that. I apologize. Let's go to T-Bone. Keith, are they using... I'm not sure what this really means here. Keith, are they using as soldiers like a 20 and back? I'm going to assume, are they using human soldiers up in space like 20 and back soldiers?
I'm not sure what 20 and back is.
It's the super soldiers that
humans were used years, like centuries back, as soldiers, but off-world, they are one of the most frail and easily dismembered races available. Besides that, especially if you take a look at many of the reptilians, sure, let's get a human soldier, because now we've got our food on the go with us. And our food can help defend the dinner table.
I don't understand how they can bring people back.
Oh, that's just it. If 20 and back is referring to time travel, not possible. Just plain not going to happen. I was thinking the super soldiers. It is very easy to modify the human triple helix. Of course, humans still think the double helix is what's got all the answers.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next question here. Do most extraterrestrials on their planet have jobs, pay bills, drink beer, watch TV? If not, what do their days look like?
No, they're pretty much identical from that standpoint. They have a normal civilization is civilization. There are differences, like they may not drink quote unquote beer, right? But most of it, when you go to their home planets, they have some form of currency. It's only when they get into the consortium or get off world that they end up going to a digitized form. And then they still have jobs, they still have specialties, they've still got artists. Name the area of human civilization. Most species have the same idea and the same configuration.
All right. Let's go to, and I'm going to ask you, Keith, and I apologize for sounding rude here, but please stop banging your desk.
My apologies.
I know, bud. When you get going, you're uncontrollable. This is what happens when you trim your sideburns, my friend. You become uncontrollable.
Well, just be grateful when I was in the hospital, they didn't remove them.
They trimmed them down, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
You better grow them back for us.
Oh, I don't cut them.
I know. That's a beautiful part of your pork chops there. All right, Super Crazy is asking, what do extraterrestrials generally admire about the human race?
Number one, their curiosity. Number two, their almost indomitable will to explore. And number three, and this one they actually fear, is the human race's ability on a unilateral level to independently utilize what humans call zero-point energy. In other words, bend reality with their own minds. That's also what frightens them the most.
Mm.
Any questions, guys, for Keith?
Well, I'm just wondering about the whole, because in abduction situations, and maybe it's technological based, I don't know, but there's plenty of people that have been abducted through walls, through windows. So it seems like reality is being bent around these abductees. as the aliens are removing them or bringing them back or whatever. But
Nope.
no,
They do that in a very simple fashion. Molecular vibratory amplification. Take matter, move it at an offset pace to the other physical matter. You can pull it right through it. You're sliding
okay.
between the molecules.
So that's not the same as the 0 point energy you're referring to. It's a different thing.
It's a technological thing.
Okay.
So that if that being the case, Keith, shouldn't their crafts also be able to exhibit the same phenomena and then go into our physical, let's say, like a mountain or anything like that?
Some can.
Yeah. Moving through solid matter.
Yeah, well, if you watch like even Skinwalker Ranch, they filmed an orb coming out of the mountain and going back in, or the mesa and going back into it, and they've even GPS tracked things that apparently the trajectory went through the solid mesa and then came back out. If those
Neat part
trackers,
is, neat part is I know of there is a project being worked on that humans are working on regarding that particular phenomenon.
oh wow,
I've captured such phenomenon on film myself.
Mm-hmm. Lee, you've got some amazing footage. You really, really do. Let's go to Art, good friend of ours, Art Fraser, listening in on LinkedIn. If the James Webb Telescope is revealing cosmic structures that resemble intelligent design 13 billion years ago, how do we reconcile that with the idea that human consciousness only emerged 300,000 years ago, unless we were engineered and the architects never left, Keith?
Well, I can't tell you how you're gonna reconcile it. I reconcile it this way: human comprehension of consciousness has been greatly understated. Human consciousness evolved in like literally centuries, well, really millennia back. It's just current humans have forgotten so much of what they used to know. They won't wrap their brain around it. You take a look at the Star Trek transporter. That is a working thing, and that is a working item for many species. And yet humans can't figure it out.
Let's go to Joe here. Do aliens have domestic crime on their planets?
Absolutely. They've got murder, they've got cannibalism, they've got corporate crime. They've got abuse. Of course, there are some species where beat the kid. There's a fun thing, because he'll eat you. What they don't have and I don't know of any species other than humans that have a legal system that says you're now on death row and you'll die of old age. They do have death row, but it's usually extremely quick.
All right, let's go to Tom King. Tom got to be a guest on this show. He is so brilliant. Such a brilliant guy. Lee, you and Tom, if you guys meet at our Vegas party this May 21st to 25th, don't know where in Vegas yet. If we could drag Tom up from Arizona, you and him, we'll never see you guys because you guys will be talking all this UFO tech stuff. Be incredible. But Tom is asking, on other planets, do they have pretty much the same songs we do? Hotel California, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, same song structures through the universe?
Ultimately, the short answer would be yes. Clearly, they do not sing things like, quote unquote, girls just want to have fun. But sound is a language of its own. By the way, so is light.
What song, Brent, would you want pumped into the universe? To go on
We are,
for
we are the world.
I like it.
We are the world. Come on, Dave, sing with me.
I swear I saw you in there.
Europe, the final countdown.
Yeah.
It is Europe, the final countdown. Oh my.
That brings
I'm
me
going to
back.
stick with, as much as I'm a GNR fan and Paradise City is my song, I want our theme song, Little Brother is Watching by Bumblefoot, to race through the universe. So that way, when the aliens hear me 50 million years from now, they're going to be like, that guy was good. That guy was real good. Thank you, Bumblefoot, for that. That's what I want. Keith, how about you?
You know, being a little bit off kilter here, I still like the Carpenter's 1973 Up with People. Bear in mind, I see people as plants, animals, and other forms.
Good choice. Good choice. All right, let's see if we have any more questions here at this time. We might be wrapped up with audience questions for right now. Lee, do you have any questions for Keith?
Unfortunately, I wasn't here earlier, but did we ask Keith anything about the 3-eye atlas?
Yes.
Yes.
We did.
Keith, the one thing about Keith is he doesn't follow the latest news, and he just got out of hospital.
Yeah.
So he's not very caught up. What do you guys think, though? And we'll talk about this in hour 3 with Lee Strauss, but what do you think, though, Keith, about NASA all of a sudden as 3-eye atlas meteor got as close as it will get to Earth? NASA's cameras allegedly cut out during the best hours of sighting.
Yeah, that was fishy, wasn't it?
Keith,
Well,
what's your thought?
that writes off the concept of it being a comet.
Mm-hmm.
That is simply a jammer. Which means we've got a new race coming into the area. Which that ought to be fun. Now they'll have to go through through standard protocol before they make landfall.
What is standard protocol?
Number one, they've got to make certain that they're following the protocol of they are not allowed to infiltrate Earth and take over any major corporation or country, and then they cannot take a dominant leadership position if they desire to live down here.
Okay.
You know, they cannot come down and work as assassins. You know, that's just not an acceptable path. And if they're going to be dealing with humans, they have to literally spend however long they require to make sure that they learn how to handle humans. Because humans are fragile. And many of these species can kill humans just by accident.
Sure. So
And
is there,
I'm not talking about the illness side.
Right.
I'm referring to accidentally touching them and oops.
oh,
Hmm.
is there an organization like well, not like, but is there a Men in Black that kind of keep an eye on all this stuff?
Ultimately, the short answer would be yes. That is a consortium liaison with various governments around the world.
Mm.
But that's an intergovernmental human organization connected to the consortium.
Well, that would make sense, being connected to the consortium.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
How Keith finds this out, I have no idea. It just kind of weirds me out sometimes how you're able to do that, Keith.
I'm still working on that.
All right. Easy one for you, Keith. Super Crazy is asking, do aliens have household pets? If yes, what are some examples?
Well, you take a look at the chupacabra. That was a household pet.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. It just happened to be a household pet that humans don't want to have around.
Yeah,
You know,
we're not.
there are many critters that we've seen pictures of that humans chalk up to being fantasy creatures. You know, I know of one pet that they have that happens to literally be a living vine. You know, I mean, you got a house plant. Well, it's nice if the house plant stays in the pot. These guys have house plants that, well, don't cooperate.
Oh wow.
Like Little Shop of Horrors, for instance, that sort of thing.
With a little less of the comical side, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you've got a pet, when you've got what amounts to a pet Venus flytrap that figures your kid is dinner, you know, you really want to put a cage around the pet.
Yeah.
But like with a Little Shop of Horrors, there was that one little fly trap that used to like to kiss people.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. Okay, we got 3 minutes to go here before we have to say goodnight to our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Keith, do you see with the remainder of 2025 anything extraterrestrial happening?
There is a staggering amount happening. But am I going to tell you specifically what? No, but I can tell you where. Watch the corona around the moon. In other words, but don't look to see the ships. Look to see the stars that disappear. Because when you've got stars that disappear in sequence, you're seeing a ship. But there is an increase in activity up around that. There's also an increase in activity inside the sun's photosphere. Now that's been building for a very long time. I first found out about that one about 40 years ago. But if you're asking, are we going to have some sort of major extraterrestrial revelation, do not hold your breath.
I'll stop holding it right now then. Just what I do. Just what I do. 90 seconds to go here, Keith. Let's see if we can have any more questions from our audience here. I am not seeing any, which is always a good sign that we got to them all, because there's nothing more that I hate than not having all the questions answered. But for you, Keith, you know, people may not quite understand the entire topics that you get to, and maybe it's a little bit out of their realm. What do you say to people who are naive or unknowing of this subject and just want to, you know, take a dabble into it?
The politest way I can put it is open your mind. You know, the imagination is the key to the higher senses. And the reality of it is, it all actually is connected and does, in its own way, make sense. I am very open to people asking questions about how things work. I can explain most of it. I cannot understand it for people.
I love it. Where can people find your work, Keith?
That's the easy part. I am on YouTube at R. Keith Andrews. You can also find all the books and the ways to contact me at buymeacoffee.com/innervoicej.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what the J is for.
I don't know how we got it. However, it worked out well because the novels I'm writing, the lead character is Jeremiah.
Oh.
So how the J got in there, I have no idea. And neither does the guy who set the site up.
Well, that's okay. Our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. It happens once a month. We'll talk to you in November, Keith. Coming up
Absolutely.
next, the Q&A with extra small Lee Strauss, Swamp Dweller, and maybe B. Arthur will stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Cool.
Doctor, really appreciate having me.
Brent,
Yep.
you out?
Yeah, I'm going to take off too, brother. I've been at this for a while today. So,
No problem. You go get some sleep. Keith,
All right.
go get some rest, buddy.
Yep,
great to see you
definitely.
guys.
Nice seeing you, Keith. Nice
to
meeting
meet
you, Brent.
too.
Good to meet you too, sir. You guys have a great night, brother. See ya.
Hey, B, I'll give you a call
Drop
tomorrow.
me a line. I will give
Yeah.
you the data.
Okay, very good. Thank
But
you,
give me a
Keith.
couple of days.
Yeah, I got
All right, Keith.
I got something to discuss with you as soon as you can too. Just whenever.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
Leah, I'm putting
night.
you back in the green room for right now. We'll be right back.
You know it's no fun when the boss already lets the cat out of the bag and lets Lee on the screen. So, what am I to do? One of those. It's just what I do. It's one of my things.
Back. Let's bring in Extra Small to join us. Hold on, Lee. Hold on. What do we need?
Had to bounce back in the chair real quick as I'm over there charging equipment.
All right. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, my friend. Fantastic.
Hey, Lee, stick around after the show for a couple minutes. If you don't mind. All right. Andrew B., nice to see you. And Skip to Malou, good morning to you. David, how you doing? And anybody else? I think we're caught up. Thank you tonight to Alaska's greatest athlete, Area 54, T-Bone, Stargazer, and Kitty Caddywhack for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support. Our store is always open. If you're looking for some new swag or looking to give away some swag in a couple months, it's Christmas time. You got to start thinking about that. Here we go. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. We really appreciate you tuning us in each and every night because we love being here and doing what we do. Swamp Dweller and Lee Strauss coming up next to kick off hour number 3. But first, we want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Decinoval. Decinoval is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. I live in a rural town in Australia, and I'm used to seeing kangaroos and hares when I walk alone. This was on a Saturday, and I went for a walk on this trail that I had found. It was roughly 30 or 40 minutes away from my house. The trail follows a bike track till you reach a fork in the path. If you leave, you end up back at the beginning of the way. If you head right, you follow this very narrow trail. You can barely fit 2 people walking side by side on it. So I continue down this track, and usually I hear birds chirping and just general wildlife noises. Still, I couldn't hear a single noise but the wind blowing in the trees around me and the crunching of gravel under my shoes. So I continued my walk for about 10 or 20 minutes, when I started to pick up on the leaves crunching behind me as if someone was trying to follow me without being heard. They were trailing me, and I thought nothing of it at first, so I kept walking for just some time before I heard a massive tree crack. It was as if somebody or something had stepped on a large tree branch and broke it in half. This caused me to stop and jump back as I started scanning the tree line for whatever made that loud noise. I saw a large black figure duck behind a few trees. They were only about 100 to 200 meters away from me. Now I knew this wasn't a kangaroo by the size of the figure. It's hard to describe, but I will do my best. It was like a 6-foot human, but its arms were abnormally long. They stretched down from its shoulder to the ground, and its head was tilted nearly 90 degrees sideways, almost as if it wasn't connected to its body. As I saw this figure duck behind the thick trees and shrubs, I stood there staring at where I last saw the figure. What scared me, and is engraved in my mind, was its eyes peeking through the bushes. Those dark red eyes that felt like they were staring into my soul. I felt helpless. I felt like prey. I felt like this was an apex predator. When I saw this, my whole body became fearful. All my joints started shaking, and this eerie fear washed over me as my body ran before my brain could even comprehend what I had just seen. As I was sprinting away, I could hear leaves and branches cracking loudly as if I was getting chased by something significant and fast. I never looked back as I was chased for what seemed like ages, my blood coursing through my veins and my adrenaline at an all-time high. That's when I heard the most high-pitched screeching sound that I've ever heard in my life. I didn't even know vocal cords could even remotely make these sounds. I immediately dove behind a big mound of dirt out of complete fear. I sat there trying to restrain my breathing as to not give away my position. I heard the sound of leaves cracking and coming from the other side of the dirt mound. I sat there holding my breath when I heard this thing bolt past me at such an incredible speed that I was shocked that it didn't catch me earlier. It started getting dark as I sat there for what seemed like hours. I was waiting for this thing to return at any moment. Finally, I knew I had to move, or otherwise I would be here in the pitch black, and I would have to use my phone flashlight to navigate. And with that thing looking around, I knew I would be a dead man. So I nervously got up and sprinted back to town. The rest of the day was seemingly normal, and I have never heard or seen anything like that ever again. But I still refused to go down that trail, as I've never been that fearful for my life, and I'm grateful that I hid in that fork in the road, because I would not be typing this here today.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, ring that bell, and you get thousands of stories just for free. Right there. Worth checking on out. Time for Lee Strauss. Extra small Lee Strauss from our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio. He hosts every Friday night, Element 115, right before this show. And we love it when Lee is here. Thank you very much, Lee, for being here.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure every Friday night to come on your show and shoot the you-know-what.
I hear you. It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun when we have you here. Big controversy. We'll kick things off right off the bat with a little controversy. You know?
Yeah.
See, this is how conspiracy theories begin. Everybody has been watching in our community, the UFO community, what's happening with this meteor called 3I Atlas. We've been talking about it for months. Lee, I know you and Grant Baker on UFO Max and you and Tim James on Element 115 have talked about this meteor and the high strangeness that seems to be following this, because this thing has been moving like no other meteor in the history of tracking these things. It's made, the only thing it hasn't made is a U-turn. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you use a Bugs Bunny term, it even made a left at Albuquerque, right?
Just about. Yeah. It's done so many things. It's hard to keep track anymore. It really is, and Avi Loeb and so many other people, have been talking about this thing and all saying generally the same thing. This does not seem normal whatsoever.
Absolutely. And, here's the strange part about it. This thing detoured. It was on its way to Earth and then detoured towards Mars. And it's shown different colors because most meteorites meteors are water-based of some way. And that's why you get the long flowing trail.
The comet. Yeah.
Comets, pardon me. Yes. Thank you for correcting me there. And, they have a lot of ice particles and water particles in it. And that's why they get that beautiful long trail that as the ice melts and falls off, it just kind of sparks up in the universe, and it makes for a real beautiful sight. And if you've never, ever seen a comet in the sky, it is so surreal because it looks like it's not moving at all.
No.
It, and here are the things moving at, top-notch speed. It's absolutely incredible how fast that thing is going. But
yeah, faster than sorry, Dave, but it's faster than any other object that we've ever seen in our solar system.
Yeah. And the thing that I find amazing about this is there's been a lot of question led by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, basically saying, look, the patterns of this being a comet are very abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he does believe, he goes on to say that he does believe that it is a comet, but the characteristics that it is showing, because it is so far away, we haven't had a bird's eye view of it outside of the James Webb Telescope, that we cannot rule out that this thing could be a spaceship. And your thoughts on that?
That is correct, Dave. One of the thoughts is that ETs might have overtaken this structure, this comet, and basically burrowed into the darn thing to get from one place to another. And they can kind of use that. If you think about it, like when you're at the zoo and you're looking through glass that maybe would be like a one-way glass, we're not going to be able to see them, but they're going to be able to see us. There's such a giant halo of debris around this thing as it's coming into our solar system, or it's already here, that we would never be able to see the exact shape or dimensions right now. They can't even tell us what the dimensions of this thing is as it comes into our inner solar system and is now just past Mars today, by the way.
Absolutely.
They cannot tell us how big it is.
But this is where it gets even weirder. I'm going to read a story here from the Daily Mail, who's been following this. And if you ever need weird stuff, look, this is like an Inquirer magazine website. But the one thing they do really well is reporting on space and UFOs. Okay. NASA has gone dark just hours before humans getting the closest look at the mysterious object barreling through our solar system. The interstellar object, dubbed 3I Atlas, will come within 18 million miles of Mars on October 3rd. Its closest flyby of any planet this year. 2 space probes orbiting the red planet, Mars Express and ExoMars, are preparing to take Earth's best picture and closest scans of this strange visitor, which scientists have widely concluded is an unusual comet from a distant solar system. However, when those readings come in, America's space agency may remain completely silent about what the object really is. NASA has announced that its official website will not be updated during the government shutdown, which has resulted in thousands of federal employees being sent home without pay. It is unclear whether NASA staff will make any announcements regarding the object's close pass by Mars, similar to the history-making press conference that revealed the discovery of microbial life on Mars in September. The shutdown couldn't have come at a worse time, as scientists say Friday's flyby could answer many questions about the mysterious comet, including whether it's actually an object of extraterrestrial origin. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb has maintained that 3I Atlas has too many confounding characteristics to be a simple comet streaking through the solar system. Go figure. Everybody wants Avi's quote on that. Hopefully, we will learn much more about 3I Atlas in the coming days, Loeb said. And then the professor added that both Mars Express and ExoMars started their observations of the object on October 1st, and will continue to study it until October 7th. Loeb noted that he is interested in several of the findings the space probes could be able to compile while in such close range of 3I Atlas, adding that the readings could determine once and for all whether it's a comet or an artificial structure. The image and composition would be the top 2 findings of interest, Loeb stated. Since its discovery by an amateur astronomer this summer, the prevailing theory has been that 3I Atlas is a comet with a chemical composition that is unlike anything created within our solar system. In September, scientists from the Michigan State University announced that 3I Atlas was spewing gas or dust into space long before it started approaching our sun, something highly unusual for a distant comet. Their study in the astrophysical journal Letters concluded that this meant it was filled with a unique collection of molecules, including carbon monoxide, an odorless gas often produced by burning wood or fossil fuels. However, Loeb and his researchers have found even more clues that point to the interstellar object being something else, including its incredibly unusual course through the solar system and its potentially massive size. Based on earlier scans and photos of the alleged comet, Loeb calculated that 3I Atlas may be over 3 miles long. However, NASA has noted that it could be as small as 1,444 feet in length, which is still considered a city killer if it were to strike Earth. The new data during the Mars encounter will help certainly in clarifying some of the anomalies of 3I Atlas, like its anomalous size and composition, but it will not explain its rare alignment with the ecliptic plane of the planets and rare timing in arriving close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, Loeb explained. NASA and the European Space Agency have said Friday's historic meeting over Mars should also clear up the questions about the suspected comet's trajectory through space and its physical properties. High-resolution images and spectral data will provide more information about the object's nucleus, tail, and coma, the bright fuzzy cloud of gas and dust forming around it. However, some scientists have already dismissed alternative theories about the comet. Jonathan McDowell, an astronomer and astrophysicist working at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, said it is clearly a natural comet. Suggestions to the contrary are laughed at by people who are actual comet experts. Well, there we go. There we go. The debate continues. You know, the one thing I love about Avi Loeb, and I know he's caused a lot of controversy inside the UFO community, but the one thing I love about him is that he actually is not afraid to rule out something extraterrestrial. And I love his attitude because so many scientists today are all about fact. This is fact. It's fact, fact, fact. You cannot prove me wrong. All we have to do is watch any Neil deGrasse Tyson interview about UFOs and ETs. And yet he gets shot down for having that voice.
Yeah.
He gets shot down, Avi Loeb, that is, gets shot down for saying, hey, guys, we don't know what it is. We believe it's this, but there's a difference between saying we believe it's this and actually this is what it is. So just your thoughts overall on that, Lee.
Well, the fact that he's willing to welcome the possibility that it could be something else is huge. He's from, he works at Harvard, for God's sakes. It's comforting to have a scientist of his ilk, of his prestige, come forward and say, yeah, but we don't know for sure. Why don't we wait and see? Okay, it's possible that this thing has some sort of intelligent design. It is a possibility. We don't know, but let's wait and see. Instead of just coming out and poo-pooing everything right away, like a lot of people do. A lot of people like to toe the line, right? The government line. But it's refreshing to have somebody like him, like I said, come out and say, well, let's just wait and see. Yeah, it's possible.
It very much is possible. And we have to be able to keep an open mind with it. Now, do I believe it's a spaceship? No, I believe it's probably a comet. Okay. But in the information, and trust me, I'm as amateur as they come on this subject. All right. But in the information that I have read on this subject, it is something that I find to be pretty exquisite that they have stated about the change in the trajectories, the changing in the color scheme of the comet. that it's doing things that they've never seen before. Now, does that mean automatically it's aliens? No, it doesn't. You still have to have a skeptical view on everything. But the fact that it's not being ruled out is one thing. With 4 minutes to go, I do want to get into, though, Lee, the main controversy about this is NASA blaming the government shutdown for saying that one of the most historic sightings in space in a long time, we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to shut it down. This also comes on the heels of NASA putting a picture of 3-Eye Atlas out there, but instead of showing a clear form, they did this weird pixelation that doesn't show anything except a bunch of blocks in different colors. I mean, for you and I who are used to conspiracy theory around this subject, it sure seems to point to NASA being NASA again.
Exactly. We're seeing the same old thing. They're going to get the data before we do, of course, and they're not going to show it live. They're going to look at it. They're going to critique it before they even come out with it. And this shutdown is exactly what they need to do that, right? They're not going to come out with it until things get fixed here in the U.S. But Mars Perseverance on October 2nd, yesterday, did capture what could possibly be the 3-Eye Atlas streaking through the skies above Mars. And I did see the video.
I would like to see that. I'm not going to lie.
So you can look it up. Mars Perseverance did capture an object streaking through the skies above Mars. Now, when I'm saying skies, I don't mean in the atmosphere. We're talking, thousands of miles away out in space. But there was an object that did come through, and they did capture it. So,
well, it's very interesting to see how this is playing out because once again, it gives NASA another black eye. I mean, they played us for fools during their their UAP study that they did for $100,000, where they called in a bunch of their friends and said, "Hey, do you want to make a quick 10 grand in your pocket? Let's do this." And then came out, nothing to see here, and not a single person asked Bill Nelson, "What's in your closet?" Which I found unconscionable.
Right.
And now we have this again. Now, I'm not saying that 3-Eye Atlas is a UFO craft. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I find the timing to be very suspicious, because here's the thing. If I'm somebody in that position, okay, knowing we're having this historic comet potentially from another solar system coming into our area, I'd work for free on it, man.
Yep.
And do we really think that NASA won't have scientists there on their own time doing what they need to do to run a live feed on a website? It's not that difficult. We do it as we speak right now. Our radio audience can't see us, but our YouTube audience sure can.
Yeah.
While we're broadcasting this show live. It's that simple. So for them to say that they weren't going to do anything or play the feed of anything, it's ridiculous. It's literally, and I know it's more technical than what I'm going to say, but it's literally the flip of a light switch in today's technology. You hit start, and then at the end of it, you hit stop. That's
I have more compelling thoughts about this too, Dave, that I want to get into after the break.
Absolutely. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about 3-Eye Atlas. Then we're going to move into a strange UFO relationship that is beginning between a billionaire and a very Christian man who calls in UFOs.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear.
Okay, man. I'm telling you, I'm chomping at the bit.
No, you can't. You got to hold it. You got to hold it.
I know it. I know it.
You got to hold it. It's just like when you got to go to the bathroom real bad. You got to hold it.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm telling you. But man, this whole thing stinks to high heaven. And there's so much that they have released lately, and wondering why certain things came out. But I'll keep it. I'll wait.
Yeah, hold it up, man.
Well, I'm excited for next year, man. There's going to be so many things going on. I'm telling you.
Absolutely, man.
I
We will
am
let it fly in just a couple of minutes.
Mhm.
A couple of minutes. So if you're new here, we are a live radio show, which means that we have to take our commercial breaks.
So I'm going to be at Squat. I know you don't like this. I'm going to say it. Squatch Fest. February. Here in Washington State. And I'm going to have my vehicle all loaded up with all the equipment that I use for my outings and on display. They're at Squatch Fest. So that'll be cool. And that's in Kelso, Washington.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing a different thing this year where they are doing Squatch Fest and Galactic Fest at the same time.
Oh, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. We love it when that happens.
Don't we? No kidding, race fan. I had no idea. Tim Mothman yelling at him. No, you're not. Do I have a website or email address for photography questions? Yes. So you can get a hold of me at ufowoodsman@gmail.com. ufowoodsman@gmail.com. And on Facebook, Lee Strauss. Easy enough.
Or just put a big XS sign in the sky, bounce it off the clouds, and Lee will show up.
Just like Batman. Yeah. Really good information tonight about three-eye atlas for sure.
Thank you, Polly. We got 1 minute, Lee.
No worries, brother. Oh, Tammy says hi, by the way.
Where is Tamitha?
She is in California. She will be up here.
Is she in our chat room tonight?
Not tonight. She's not. She's actually asleep. She had a long day. But she will be up here Thursday morning, super early.
Oh, she's coming back to town.
Yep.
Wow. Time number 2. She just needs some lead time, eh?
She does. She needs some of this extra small.
Truth. Thank you to Kitty Cattywack, Stargazer, Area 54, Alaska's greatest athlete, and T-Bone, my man, for the great super chats. They really do help us out. We appreciate it. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Lee Strauss is here until the top of the hour for the Q&A. We greatly appreciate him. Hey, we want to remind all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Yeah, we do. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. From the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel, Lee Strauss is here from our show called Element 115, which happens every Friday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, for 1 hour before I come on the air. Lee, you wanted to get into 3-Eye Atlas. You have some thoughts that you got to get off your chest.
I do. I really do. Dave, thank you. Last week, NASA announces that they finally found microbes on Mars. Finally found microbes on Mars. They've known there's been microbes there for years and years. It seems to me this has come at a very opportune or inopportune time, because now we had the government shut down and now we can't see what's going on around Mars, which is eerily convenient. And I'm wondering if they just needed this shutdown to happen so that this, whatever this is, they know. I believe they know, Dave, that this thing is not just a normal comet. Something else is going on. This thing slowed down before it got to Mars, or before it came close to Mars. And we're talking millions of miles away. But still, this thing could possibly be seeding the solar system. Panspermia, for instance. Seeding the solar system, with whatever microbes it's carrying through our solar system, coming from, we don't know exactly where, but somewhere close to where the wow signal happened, right? And so, what the heck? It seems to me that what it's doing is just seeding. And again, we're going to get more microbes here on Earth too. What are those microbes going to do? We have no idea. But now that stuff is just drifting through our inner solar system.
And that's what it all comes down to, man, is the strangeness of this thing. And NASA, once again, cutting the feed to it, blaming the government shutdown. There's going to be scientists in that building watching anyways.
Well, not just the U.S. I mean, the space agents, NASA is just one agency in the world, right? You've got the European Space Agency, you've got Japan, you've got China, you've got Russia. All these other entities are out there right now filming this darn thing. So why are we just relying on NASA?
Because it's America, man. It's America. Somebody around NASA was going to be watching this while barbecuing right there.
Okay. Yes, that's the case. And yes, it takes time for data to be collected, right? From these craft that are over at Mars or floating around in other parts of our solar system. It's going to take time for that data to get here, 16 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. And then they have to, put it together, and then they're able to show it. But a lot of that stuff I don't imagine we'll ever see.
Truthful.
Mhm.
Truthful. We got to get into a topic here until the top of the hour. That's kind of an interesting one that's happening, this relationship that's building in the UFO world. There's a gentleman named Chris Bledsoe. He's been on this show, a previous guest, who is a gentleman who's a very Christian man who a number of years ago started having alien and UFO encounters, especially with one that he believes is a religious deity that he calls the Lady. And the Lady is, in his opinion, biblical. And he has been very well studied by a lot of university scientists, government scientists, and his story has made it all the way to the Vatican, where the Pope has looked into him about these sightings. Well, Chris Bledsoe is also a hot iron for controversy because many people have believed that a lot of the UFO sightings that he is seeing are no more than satellites or airplanes. Now, Chris is a very honest man. He is a gentleman who wouldn't hurt a fly on a window. That's just the kind of guy he is. And he's a great, great person. And I think he means well. I don't think that he's trying to be a television star. I don't think he's trying to be, somebody who's trying to milk or the new term grift his 15 minutes of fame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so he has all of a sudden developed a new friend, a billionaire named Peter Thiel.
Mm.
Now, for people who are unfamiliar with Peter Thiel, he first made his billions creating PayPal with Elon Musk. And then when they sold PayPal, he decided to invest in some defense companies and contracting companies. He is a multi-billionaire. He is somebody who is very politically involved. Some have even gone as far as calling him the Antichrist recently. And where it gets a little bit funnier in the UFO world is a couple years ago, he was approached, allegedly, to fund a UFO recording site called Enigma Labs. And it is alleged that he put between $5 and $8 million into the hands of a few people who, for some reason, want to remain anonymous. Alice Smith. And he decided that he was going to keep quiet on this. And then, following that up, and we've been following this for a while, and I'm just giving you the Coles Notes version here. We follow that up with, one of his underlings, a gentleman named Jesse Michaels, who made a lot of money working for Peter Thiel, got all of the big interviews in the UFO world all of a sudden from David Grush. He came out of nowhere interviewing David Grush. Yes, Alice Smith's a decoy name for Alice Lloyd George. Thank you, Nicole Sackich, researcher extraordinaire. Number one. We call her a number one around here. So anyways, Peter Thiel's, one of his bright stars, Jesse Michaels, decides to start a YouTube channel, immediately starts getting the biggest of the big names. Nobody knows how he was able to do that. He actually went on a podcast and said, I just picked up the phone and asked. Well, in the UFO groups that I'm in, we've talked about this. And we're like, no, you just don't pick up the phone and call these type of people. Nobody uses a phone book anymore, even though they're still printed for some ungodly reason. When's the last time you opened the Yellow Pages? Do the Yellow Pages still exist? Wow. That's going old school right there. But Michaels also stated that he tried to bring Peter Thiel into the UFO world But Thiel said, no, I'm not really interested. Don't have time. Not really into it. And that might be turning out to be some false information. I'm not saying it's a lie. I'm saying it could be, allegedly, false information. Because apparently, Mr. Thiel, the billionaire extraordinaire, does have an interest in UFOs and is planning on meeting and hanging out a little bit with Chris Bledsoe. Bledsoe has been known for summoning. He's been known for calling in alleged angels. I'm wondering if Peter Thiel is the 2025 version of what Robert Bigelow, eccentric billionaire out of Nevada, was in 2007 and around that time. What's your thoughts?
Well, maybe both of them have contracts with the government, and both of them want to keep things hush hush.
The fact that Peter Thiel has kind of dissuaded or tried to dissuade the fact that he is somebody who has an interest in this subject is an illusion that only he is seeing through. Because people in the know of this community, we know that he is investing money into it. It was alleged, but I don't think it was ever proven, that he may have also invested in Skywatcher. I'd heard that rumor. I have not been able to confirm that. Okay. It's very interesting to see how this is playing out and why all of a sudden Thiel and many people that he knows are getting very interested. It's like they may want some sort of technology that's out there. Oh, Lee put his finger up. What does that mean?
Big boys want big toys, Dave. They want control. It's simple as that. He's got a lot of money, right? If he's got control of this tech in any way, shape, or form, then he can exploit it and make more money.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree. But is it about controlling a narrative too, if this technology is on the rise?
Yeah, it would be about controlling a narrative. Is, he's already said that he doesn't believe in it, but yet he's put millions of dollars into these different groups. Enigma Labs, and maybe, like you say, Skywatcher, and who knows what else. If he's dabbled into it a little bit here and there, we're just seeing the surface of the pyramid, right? So I imagine he's got all kinds of things going on, especially with somebody with that much money. He's probably getting the inside scoop that we'll never hear. And I could only assume that's for his own benefit.
It makes me wonder, once again, if we are having another moment here. Okay, like for instance, when Brandon Fugel bought Skinwalker Ranch, the Utah almost billionaire bought Skinwalker Ranch in Utah off of Robert Bigelow, nobody knew who he was for the first number of years. Everybody was trying to figure out until he decided to go public with it. And we've interviewed Brandon Fugel on this show. He is a nice gentleman. He's taken a lot of my text messages and calls. I have a lot of admiration for him. And I also have a lot of admiration for him considering he is a giant fan of our resident cartoonist who we call Dirty Filth around here. Mm-hmm. And literally last Christmas, I think bought 10 or 20 of Filthy's books, cartoon books.
Wow.
To give away as Christmas gifts. Right? Which I think is pretty cool. But that's a sidebar story to this. He was silent for the first number of years after buying it from Robert Bigelow, then goes public. And now we see somebody like Peter Thiel, who is getting very involved in military defense contracts, having a giant interest in this subject, and is quietly, like Bigelow and maybe even a little bit, and this may be a long string I'm pulling here, maybe a little bit like Fugel. We don't know if Fugel is invested in anything other than the real estate of what he does every day with his real estate, because he is a real estate magnate. But we don't know how much more involved outside of Skinwalker Ranch that he is actually, funding or looking into on defense contracts. That's why I kind of put Thiel in the Robert Bigelow category, because they're almost acting the same. Bigelow really didn't want microphone attention. He didn't want interview attention. He just wanted to be able to do his thing and keep quiet about it. But Peter Thiel does have a lot more government contracts, deep, dark contracts in the military industrial complex. Therefore, he might have an inside track on what is really going on out there. Now, everything I'm saying, to be blunt, is hypothetical. But if he has an inside track on maybe down craft or craft that have landed here and been exchanged for other technologies or, heaven forbid, humans, of course he would want that. That's going to bump him up to the next level and make him richer and richer. I mean, let's face it. We are in a disclosure for dollars movement. Everything is about money in this field now. Whether it's a paltry YouTube channel, whether it's TikTok, whether it's military industrial complex people. It is about money. And maybe he's seen things that are leading him to say, this is what we need to do. We need to build our little conglomerate here, and we need to make sure that we get that technology. That way Lockheed Skunk Works doesn't have it. That way British Aerospace doesn't have theirs. That way Raytheon doesn't have theirs, or Boeing, or McDonnell Douglas, or Northrop, or any other of the big chain companies that are vying for all sorts of military millions.
We're talking about assets, right? For the most part. But we're also seeing that he's out there gathering up people as well. So people in our field that are extremely good, people that are seeing these things when they call them, are probably going to get snatched up just as much. The tech.
And let's also remember, though, that there are a number of people that are playing this game behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Diana Pasulka first came out publicly a number of years ago, she was doing all the UFO podcasts, radio shows. She did this one. Okay. She's kind of gone back to her university ways of studying, because she is a brilliant person when it comes to religion and religious studies and everything like that. And she's very close to Chris Bledsoe. We look at Gary Nolan. Gary Nolan, would do a number of podcasts and radio shows a couple of years ago, but he has started so many different and joined so many different UFO groups that there isn't really a group out there that scientist Gary Nolan isn't a part of. And, this is a guy who also has a full-time gig at Stanford University.
Mm-hmm.
We look at a number of people like that who are in the background, and they all seem to be tied together doing their own thing. We can go down a big rabbit hole with this, and unfortunately, with only 2.5 minutes left, we're not going to have time to do that. But there is, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound rude. It is probably not proper wording for it. Okay, but it's almost like a cult-like mentality that a bunch of these brilliant people are all congregating together to scratch each other's back and find out really what's going on. Like, you and I can talk about the stories. There are tens of thousands of podcasts around the world, YouTube channels about this subject. We're all eating breadcrumbs while they're talking steak and lobster at that level. But those are conversations that we will never be able to have. They are the ones who are connected to the government officials, the intelligence officials, the Department of Energy officials, the military officials. the contractors who are playing with these great toys. Okay. We're just getting breadcrumbs because through a friend of a friend of a friend, we're hearing some sort of information.
Right.
And it gets difficult.
It's very difficult. I think the best of us are going to keep getting snatched up, unfortunately. And once we get snatched up, we're told what we can say and what we can't at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. Very true. They're already snatching up YouTube influencers.
Exactly.
And
I imagine, before long, you'll probably get a call on the phone saying, "Hey, Dave, I really like what you're doing. You're doing a great job, Dave, but there's just one thing that I don't want you to talk about, and it's this. Can you do that for me, Dave?" And maybe there's, some money shifted underneath the table, or maybe, well, hopefully there's not a threat involved. Would not be good. But it could happen.
it is that time of the night where we say hi to all the agents and agencies who are tuning us in on Spaced Out Radio right now. Give you a little tip of the cap as we chat with you. Give us a call sometime. You already have the phone number. You don't need to ask us for it because you already know. You got the dossier, man. You got the dossier on us. Extra Small Lee Strauss from Element 115 on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel. Been a great show with you tonight, my friend. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir.
How can people get a hold of you?
They can find me on Facebook, or you can get in touch with me over my email at ufowoodsman@gmail.com.
ufowoodsman@gmail.com. Lee is an integral part of the Spaced Out Radio team. We always appreciate him hanging on out with us on this show for the Q&A, and I hope you enjoy it too as we say goodnight to Lee. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job tonight, people. Fans, you did well. Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's a win. That's a big W for us right there. Appreciate that. Thank you to T-Bone tonight, Stargazer, Area 54, Alaska's greatest athlete, and Kitty Caddywhack for the great super chats. Infomax, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. Tyler 420, good to see you. You know, there's only one other person I've ever said could say we own the night on my extra. Did you know that, Lee? It's a little bit of Spaced Out Radio trivia and history. One person outside of myself. That's Nicole Sackage.
Oh.
She's the only one who is allowed to say we own the night on the show.
Well, I think I did last week.
No, I know that, but like when I'm reading the extra, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
Look at her. She's all happy now that I'm acknowledging that. It's me. Body Tech, good morning to you. We're about to shut this down. I think Rob has some shows this weekend. Don't know. We'll figure it out and kind of go from there. And yeah, it's all good. I'm going to close this out. I got the death day tomorrow. So yeah, another day at work. Yay. So excited. Lee, you stick around.
Yes, sir.
And the rest of you, have a great weekend, everybody. I will see you on Monday night where my guest will be, who is it? Tony Rathman, EVPs, and Staticom.
And I won't be here next week.
That's right. Lee's out in the jungle because his girlfriend's coming up. Ooh, Lee. Ooh. All right, guys. See you later. Good night, everybody. We'll give you a little tip of the cap for the weekend. Have a good one.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.